All right, it's preparing.
Meeting is now live on Facebook.
Woohoo! Oh, there we are. Goody, goody. Let me just get rid of that bit. Hello, everybody, and welcome to interview number 2, Learn How to Control Your Mind series of interviews. I am really lucky to be interviewing tonight the beautiful Alissa Buttiglieri. Did I say that right?
So that better than a lot of people. So well done.
Now, Elisa is an amazing mindset coach. She's a leader in her field, and she helps entrepreneurial women to achieve success and especially get around those limiting beliefs that we have going on up here. So I'd like to introduce you to Elisa, and you can start by telling us a little bit about you and how you came into doing what you do.
Yeah, for sure. And thank you for having me. It's such a pleasure to be on here with you.
It's awesome to have you.
So, my journey, where do I start? So basically, I always like to share my journey in a sort of like a wrapped up nutshell.
Yep.
Because everyone's journey is long, everyone's journey, has many layers to it. But basically, my journey started, honestly, I would probably say back in primary school.
Yep.
That was where I didn't realize that was my journey and going to be part of my journey, but it was. And I went through bullying at primary school. I was on the chubby side as a kid, and that caused for bullying, because young kids aren't very nice at times, and I realize that the words you say impact people. And on top of that, I also danced from the age of 3.
Yep.
And dancing was a huge part of my life, and I was a very good dancer. I danced professionally, so dancing at that level meant that I was in a lot of competition, right? A lot of contests, a lot of classes, a lot of auditions. Was a big part of my life, and being a little bit on the chubbier side, I had bullying there, and it was always this feeling of I'm not enough because I'm not skinny enough, or I'm not enough because of this, or I'm not enough because of that. And when I hit year 6, and this is the story that I tell all the time, because it's the one that I feel really, when we reflect back, and I'm sure we'll get into this a bit on the interview as well, but when we reflect back on our life and we think about the moments that really had profound impacts in maybe the not so great way, but they set us up for our life lessons and our healing.
Absolutely.
Because we truly are set up from a young age. It's not until we become adults, if we choose to heal, that we start to recognize where we sort of created these beliefs. So in year 6, I remember I had a year 6 boy in my grade say to me, "I'd take you to the formal if you weren't so fat," right? Terrible.
Right? That's horrible.
Horrible, right? An 11-year-old girl has a 11-year-old boy say that to her. Now, obviously, at the time, I laughed it off, because I was like, "What am I supposed to say to this?" But that left a really it damaged me subconsciously, right? Because not only did I experience bullying prior to that, but it was also this feeling of, and this belief that I created, that I'm only lovable if I'm thin. I'm only lovable if I'm a certain size, right? So I was constantly feeling like I wasn't good enough because I'm not tall. I was never stick thin. And then it wasn't until I got to year 9 and I was about 15, and I started running with my dad, because not only was I a dancer, I also played soccer at a fairly high level as well. I was training for soccer 3 nights a week, and played on the weekend. And then literally every other day of the week was dancing. So I had something on every day of the week, literally, right?
I can relate to that. That was me too.
Yeah. Very active child, and it was great. Like, I'm so grateful that I had that childhood and the ability to do that. And when I hit 15, I started running with my dad, and it was honestly, there was no intention behind it. It was, I know that my dad had you know, he wanted to lose weight, he wanted to get fit, and I was like, well, I'll go with him. You know, it was really like a dad and daughter bonding time sort of thing, and we loved it. Like, I remember we used to get up in the morning, go for a jog around the block, and then I always remember we'd get to like the last hill and we'd call it a mountain. You know, it was just this mountain of a hill, and then we'd get back inside and we'd have our baked beans for breakfast together on toast, and it was like a little morning ritual, you know, that I had with dad almost every day. It was great. But what I didn't realize is that over this time, I started to lose a lot of weight.
Yeah.
And it was absolutely not intentional, right? I was so active. I was such an active child that I basically wasn't eating enough for what I was burning. Mm-hmm. So I started losing a lot of weight, all the puppy fat, right, that I'd carried through primary school, which happens to most kids.
Yep, absolutely.
Hit year 9, you know, high school, and all of a sudden all the weight drops off and become skinnier, right?
Yep.
So I was just going through this natural cycle. And I got actually quite thin, right? I got the opposite side, you know, and it wasn't because I was trying to, so much so that I went to the doctors one day, our family doctor that I'd been seeing since I was a child, and he said to my parents, he's like, you know, I'm actually a bit worried about her. Is she okay? You know, is she eating? Does she, you know, kind of leaning towards, is she sort of, you know, doing this intentionally to herself, you know?
Yep.
And I honestly was like, I'm really not, you know, I'm really not doing this intentionally, but I know that I'm losing weight, so I don't really understand what's happening. And that's when we put it down to, she's just doing too much exercise and not eating enough, basically. Sure. That's what we put it down to. But I became addicted to the feeling of losing weight. I became addicted to looking that way, right?
Yeah.
So much so that when I hit 20, 21, actually it's probably a bit older, I was probably around 21, 22, I decided to put myself into fitness modeling competitions, right? And at the time, I thought it was the best idea ever. Now looking back, it was totally for validation. It was totally me wanting to get on that stage and go, F you to everyone that ever called me fat, right? It was me like seeking this approval, this validation. And in my very first competition, I placed, which is amazing, right? But I was like, is this it? Like, is this it? All of this hard work for this, like, amazing, I placed, that's great, but it felt so unfulfilling.
Yeah.
Anyway, I went to compete again for a second time, and I remember sitting down with my trainer, and she was putting my meal plan together for me and my training plan. And honestly, when I look back, this is the first time in my life that I ever understood what it meant to listen to your intuition and to have that inner guidance come through. That was the first time I'd ever experienced that in my life, right?
Yeah, wow.
And I had this, that's when I started to understand that we were guided, that we're supported, right? And I had this guidance come through. And I remember I had this voice come through and said, Alissa, why are you doing this? Like, what are you doing this for? What are you trying to prove? You're not happy doing this. You're bloody miserable. Like, what are you trying to prove, right?
Yeah.
And I remember, and I heard this voice so loud and clear, and I just looked at my trainer and went, I can't do this. This doesn't feel right. I'm doing this for all the wrong reasons. I'm not happy about doing this again.
Yep.
I can't do it. I don't want to do it.
Yep.
And she was like, okay. She's like, it's important that you are doing this for the right reasons. So if that's how you feel, totally all good, you know?
Yeah.
And it was that moment that I realized, Alissa, you've got some work to do, right? And I very much had a stage throughout my teenage years and early adulthood where I had no self-worth. I had no confidence. I was in a dark place. You know, that's really all I can call it. I was in a dark place.
Yep.
I really didn't love myself. I was isolating myself from the people that I love most, my family. I was the victim, such a victim in my life. Everything was happening to me. It was always everyone else's fault.
Yep.
Right? I was such a victim in my life. And my mum always used to come to me and say, Alissa, this is not normal. Like, your behavior is not normal. You need to do something about this. Yep. Right? You know, something needs to change. And I was in denial for a very long time. first stage to change is accepting, right? That something needs to change.
Absolutely.
I was in denial for a very long time.
Yeah.
So I remember it so vividly the day I was sitting down on a couch with my mum, and she said it to me again. She's like, Alissa, you need help, right? Maybe you need to go on medication or something. I don't know, but your behavior isn't normal. And all I remember is sitting there and I hit my enough moment, right? I was just like, I am done. I'm done feeling this way. I'd felt enough pain. I'd suffered enough.
Yep.
And it's only until we hit that point that we actually do something about it. So I hit my point of enough, right?
Yeah.
And I looked at my mum and I said, right, something does need to change. I don't want to feel this way anymore. I don't want to show up this way anymore. But what I know for sure is that I don't want to go down the path of medication. Now, I know that this can be controversial because, you know, I believe that medication has its place in the world. I really do, you know, and I'm never going to say to someone, oh, you know, it's a bad thing, you shouldn't be on it. It has its place in this world.
Yeah.
But one thing I will stand true to is that I believe we can heal without it, and I was determined to do that. I knew in my heart what was right for me, and medication wasn't the right path for me.
Sure.
That's different for everyone.
Yeah.
And what I knew by making that decision, that I only had one other option. I only had one other option, right? I didn't have 50 options when it came to my healing. It was going down the path of medication, or it was doing the work.
Yeah.
When I say doing the work, I mean doing the inner work.
Inner work,
really going in and finding the core of what was going on, because the medication, it really is a Band-Aid. It's not getting to the core. It will help you operate through life day to day, and that's necessary for a lot of people, but it's not fixing the core issue.
Yep.
Right?
Absolutely.
And that this is real talk.
Yep, absolutely.
So I knew that I had to do the work, and I dug deep, and that's when I started my healing journey. I got myself a coach, and I was willing to look at everything that I wasn't looking at, and I started healing, right? I started understanding that I was the creator of my reality. I started identifying, you know, stages in my life where I had gone through a negative experience and how that impacted me, and where I started creating the beliefs, and I started diving into the subconscious mind. And, you know, I was also a personal trainer, and I was helping people shift physically, because that was the journey I went through. And more, as I was a trainer, I started to realize that this went far further than just the physical body and the dieting and the exercise. That the reason people weren't losing weight was because of what was going on in here.
Absolutely.
Right. So put that together along with my journey and my healing, I became so intrigued with the mind.
Yeah.
You know, and I was committed to healing my own life through mindset work alone, and I did, and I have.
Yeah.
Right. And that's when I was determined to help other people do the same, no matter where they're sort of at, you know. So that's sort of how I got here, you know. I was really starting to help people, and then I realized that, this is actually my gift. This is my purpose. You know, it's helping people identify the subconscious patterns and the internal blueprint that we carry that holds us back.
Absolutely. Wow. I knew most of your story, but there was bits of that I hadn't heard before. So that was good to listen to all that. But I can relate to lots from past, very similar to mine. And so I can go, I remember that. Yeah, I remember that. So it's like, okay. And there may be other people listening tonight that can relate to that as well. The other thing I wanted to ask you, and maybe you can help share with whoever is watching tonight or catching the replay, that maybe, you know, in terms of limiting beliefs, why do we have these, and why do we need to work on these and change these?
So a belief is just a thought that we keep thinking over and over and over again.
Yes.
That's a belief.
Yeah.
Right? And that belief then becomes our reality. Now, we can either have beliefs that serve us, or we can have beliefs that don't serve us. So a limiting belief is a belief that's not serving you. It's a belief that is limiting literally your experience. It's limiting your reality. It's putting a ceiling on the abundance that you create in your life, the happiness, the love, the connection, right?
Yeah.
So it's really about understanding that we have a conscious mind and we have a subconscious mind.
Yep.
Now, here's a statistic that really throws people when I tell people this. 95% of what we create on a daily basis, meaning how we speak, what we think, the habits that we have, what we create, how we show up, that is created from a subconscious place. 95%.
That's pretty
right?
big. Pretty big numbers.
So that means that we are only operating from a 5% conscious place. I mean, we're only aware of 5% of how we're showing up. So no wonder so many people are in suffering, because they're creating this life, they're creating this reality from their subconscious mind, and their subconscious is riddled with beliefs and habits and a blueprint that is not serving you, because it's keeping you in safety. It's riddled with fear.
Yeah.
It's riddled with lack. So if we're not looking at that and clearing that and rewiring our subconscious mind, we will continue to create a life that we do not want.
Yeah, sure. Absolutely. And I heard too, or I've read that a lot of that subconscious mind is stuff that we've already done before. It's a repetition of the past over and over and over again. So when we say to ourselves, why does this keep happening to me? Or why do I keep perpetuating the same cycle? That's related to that. Is that right?
Totally. It's if you're at a stage in your life right now where you find yourself repeating the same outcomes and creating the same results that you don't want, it's because you are, exactly like you said, you are stuck in a cycle, a subconscious cycle and pattern that's not serving you. Your blueprint is not wired for the outcomes that you want. When I say blueprint, I mean your internal makeup, right? A blueprint is literally like a roadmap.
Yep.
And we have an internal blueprint, and our subconscious mind follows that every single day.
Yep. So it's like we've basically made a habit of this belief, and then we just keep doing it every day. And it's until we become aware of that habit that's not serving us, and we change it and reframe it, do we move off in a different direction?
Totally. Well, it becomes our identity, right?
Yes.
That is then what we call your identity.
Yeah.
Your identity is created from the beliefs that you continue to believe over and over again. That then becomes your identity. That's why you hear people say, but I've always been that way.
Yes.
I've always done that. Or I've always been overweight. I've always been broke. I've always been in miserable relationships. I've never been lovable. Right? That's your identity. It's how you see yourself.
Yeah, okay.
Your identity is not about changing who you are. In fact, it's not about that at all. It's the total opposite, right? It's about remembering who you are.
Yes.
And understanding that if you've created a false identity that is not serving you, because let's be real here, any belief that isn't serving you is not true.
That's right.
Right?
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. And I guess it's that inner work and those digging deep back to things that people have said in the past that you then start to believe is true because you've heard it over and over and over again, which makes you think things like I'm not worthy, or I'm not enough, or like you said, I'm always going to be chubby, or whatever it is. And it's those voices that we need to change.
Totally. And, you know, the way that I help people really understand this is as a human being, we crave two things, love and connection.
Absolutely. Yep.
Everything we do every day, whether it's good or bad, is driven by a belief that if we do this thing, we will receive love and connection.
Yeah.
So if these are the top two human needs, then of course humans are going to operate every day in the hope that they'll receive that outcome of love and connection, right?
Yeah.
And this means that we can sometimes find ourselves doing things that are actually self-sabotaging us to feel love and connection. Now, we love our parents. right? They're the best.
Yep.
But sometimes growing up, they would operate in ways that maybe didn't serve us. And it's not intentional,
No.
right? They always have best intentions at heart. It's never coming from a malice place, but they're just doing what they know.
Absolutely.
And they're just doing what they've been taught.
Yep.
And one thing I explain to people is that our parents from a young age teach us unknowingly what is going to give us love and connection. Oh, you're a good girl if you do what you're told.
Yes.
You know, broke people are bad or materialistic, or rich people are bad or materialistic, right? Whatever it is,
Yep.
you know, in a way to find this out is to kind of ask yourself, when were the times as a child that I felt loved and connected? When did I get love and connection from mum or dad as a child?
Mm.
And if it was when I was doing the right thing, when I was smart at school, whatever it is for you, then we grow up as adults with the belief that if I do this thing, I'll receive love and connection.
Even if it doesn't align with you.
Exactly. If I'm a good girl and I do what I'm told, then I'll receive love and connection.
Yeah.
We grow up as adults and we become people pleasers, and we let other people overstep our boundaries. We let other people, you know, tell us what we should or shouldn't do.
We can't say no.
Right? And this is how we end up in a life of total misalignment.
Yeah.
So it's about going back and unlearning all of that.
Yeah, and it's not always easy doing that. This work is not easy. It takes time. It's like we've said before, like the onion, peeling back the layers of the onion constantly, and you'll peel back one layer and then there'll be some more there. And you know, it's funny, when I first started doing this kind of work, I always thought, oh yeah, I'll just do it, I'll be done, you know, I only have to do it once, but that's not the case. So I've learned it's just the more you peel back, the more you find that you need to work on.
There's a saying, every new level is a new devil. And I'm not a big fan of buying into that belief, because I believe it's quite limiting. However, I do believe every new level requires you to grow and expand.
Yeah, I kind of get that, because like for me personally, like each time I grow, I feel like I need more now. So what's next? What can I work on next? It's like it becomes a bit of a hunger type of thing. Like you just crave for that constant up leveling, you know, that constant trying to better yourself and be the best you can be.
Totally. And here's the thing, like growth and evolution really can become an addiction. Right? And this is where we also need to understand that we always want to be on a path of growth and evolution, but we also need to make a conscious effort to enjoy
the process.
Where we're at, because you know, I also loved helping people and teaching people manifestation, you know, how to manifest effectively. And the more we focus on trying to manifest what we want, the more we push it away, because we are coming from a place of lack. We're trying to manifest it from a place of I don't have it yet. And the same goes for being on a journey of growth and being on a journey of evolution. If we're constantly focusing who we are and who we need to become, then we're always in this space of I'm not enough as I am, you know, and we don't allow ourselves to create in the present moment, because there's so much magic to be made there.
Okay.
And it's about consciously going, okay, I know that there's growth to be had here. I know I can evolve here, and that's totally fine. And I'm going to do what I know to do. But then I'm also going to allow myself to create in this space, to be present with where I'm at, and to enjoy where I'm at and have gratitude where I'm at. Because if we're constantly trying to race to the next level and constantly trying to clear what we need to clear, it's like that we don't manifest in that energy, because we're not in the energy of allowing and receiving. That's not the energy of allowing and receiving. That's the energy of push and force and hustle. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's actually, I've just had a bit of an aha moment there. Thank you. So no, that's good. That's good. So it's good to kind of stop when you get to that level and sit in it a bit and just make it happen for you there and enjoy that moment before you move to the next. Yeah.
Totally. And that's a whole other conversation. You know,
Yeah,
that's
sure.
going down a road of like surrender.
Yeah.
Right? Being able to sit in the moment and
Yeah.
surrender to it and go,
Yeah.
everything I desire is unfolding. Everything I desire is flowing to me. And I
Yeah.
know I can trust that because I'm connected to, you
Yeah.
know, a power that is higher than me. So I don't
Yeah.
need to keep trying and pushing and forcing,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah, absolutely.
Conversation.
So if anyone wants to work with you and you know, chat to you about what they need and what they want to work on, how can they contact you? What are you offering at the moment? I know you've got a couple of things.
Yeah, so basically I have like a 2-month container, a 2 to 4 month container that people can work with me, my private clients. It's kind of like a VIP level. There is an application process for that though. I don't just sort of work with anyone. You really do have to be willing to rise up to the occasion and, you know, make the investment. You have to be willing to shift. You have to be willing to grow. So if anyone wants that, you can, you know, feel free to send me a message or comment below, and I will send you the link to apply for that. I also have breakthrough sessions that I offer. One thing I do very quickly, and a pattern that I seem to sort of have created over the years, is when I'm in a session with someone, this first session, a lot of the time, I can bring to the surface within the first 15, 20, 30 minutes.
I could vouch for that.
Exactly what's holding you back, right? And
Yeah.
that's like I'm able to show you. So as a result of that, I offer, you know, laser coaching breakthrough sessions where maybe you don't want to dive into a 2-month container. Maybe you just want to have a one-off session so I can show you. But what happens is in those breakthrough sessions, people are aware of what needs to be shifted and they're like, actually need to be supported through this.
Yes.
Right? So then, you know, they go into the 2-month container. So there's that. And then there's, you know, whether you're working on a business, I've got a Boss Babe Mindset Bootcamp, which is all around the mindset to creating you know, a profitable, successful business. I remember when I hit my first 10K month in business, I woke up in the middle of the night and I said to my partner, right, I've done it. I've done it. And I promised myself that when I got here, I would teach other people how to do the same thing.
Yeah.
Right? And it was all the mindset. So there's very little strategy, but it's all the mindset that I had to embody to start hitting those 10K months, right?
Yeah.
So there's that as well. And I've got a journaling program.
Yes.
And down the most
It is brilliant.
most powerful tool I have used throughout my entire journey. People often say to me, you know, what's the tool that you've used that's helped you the most? Journaling. And journaling felt like a chore for me for so long. Like it frustrated me. And it wasn't until I stayed with it. I promised myself that I would learn, you know, how to do this properly. And I started to understand that there's actually an art to journaling, effectively.
Yes.
Right?
Absolutely.
If you don't understand if you don't understand the art to journaling, then you don't really have a foundation to work with, and therefore journaling won't work for you. But if you understand how to journal, it can be the most powerful tool you will ever use when it comes to reframing any beliefs that aren't serving you, but also manifesting what you want. You know, how to word things in your journal, all of that. So there's ways that people can work with me.
Awesome. Thank you so much. That was awesome information and sharing with you. I always love talking to you. It's great. So yes, if you are interested, please comment below and reach out, and Alissa will get in contact with you. We'll also pop a couple of links in the comments below too, so you can reach out to her. Yep. Thank you again for watching. Thanks if you're catching the replay. Mwah. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
We'll chat soon. Thanks, honey. Bye.